Okay, welcome to the first podcast. Today I'm going to be giving you a little bit of information about William Shakespeare through a little biography for him. William Shakespeare is recognised as one of the literature's greatest influences, but very little is actually known about his life. What we do know comes from register records, court records, wills, marriage certificates, and his tombstone. William was born in 1564. We assume this because we don't actually know his birthday, but we know through baptism records that he was baptised on Wednesday, April the 26th, 1564. So therefore we can assume that he was born in 1564. William was the third child of John and Mary Shakespeare. He had two older sisters, and William was the next, and then he had four younger brothers. Of his seven siblings, only one sister and the four brothers survived into adulthood. From baptism records, we know that William's father was John Shakespeare, said to be a town official of Stratford and a local businessman who dabbled in tanning, leatherwork, wittering, which is working with white leather to make items like purses and gloves. John also dealt in grain and sometimes was described as a glover by trade. William's mother was Mary Arden, who married John Shakespeare in 1557. Being the youngest daughter in her family, she inherited much of her father's land-owning and farming estate when he died. Little is also known about William's education. What we do know is that the King's New Grammar School taught boys basic reading and writing skills. We assume William attended this school since it existed to educate the sons of Stratford, but we have no definite proof. Likewise, a lack of evidence suggests that William, whose works are studied universally at universities, ever attended one himself. A bond certificate dated November the 28th, 1582, reveals that an 18-year-old William married the 26-year-old and pregnant Anne Hathaway. Barely 7 months later, they had their first daughter, Susanna. William's family was unusually small in a time when families had many children to ensure the parents were cared for in later years, despite the very high mortality rates of children, and also their life expectancy in the 1500s. Records reveal that William revised his will on March the 25th, 1616, and he died less than a month later on April the 23rd of the same year. He was buried at the Holy Trinity Church in Stratford. He infamously left his second best bed to his wife Anne Hathaway and little else, giving most of his estate to his eldest daughter Susanna, who married a prominent and distinguished physician named John Hall in June 1607. This is not as callous as it seemed. His best bed was for his guests. His second best bed was his marriage bed. His will also named actors Richard Burbage, Henry Condell and John Hemmings, proving to academics today that William was involved in theatre. William Shakespeare's direct line of descendants ended some 54 years later, when his daughter Susanna's own daughter, Elizabeth, died in 1670. Okay, so there we have William Shakespeare's biography. Now, next week we'll be looking at his selected works, so tune in then.